Happy Monday, February 27th, 2023. Can you believe it is almost March? My goodness. That's why we always talk here about time. Time is our most valuable asset. Finite time. You have to make a trade for your finite time. What is the only thing you can trade for your time? This is the thing we've been railing on for 10, 12 years. I've been extra railing on it the last couple weeks. Money comes from the creation of value through goods and services that are created through people, through private citizens doing things together. And that's how money comes into existence, truly, at the end of the day. Right now, we have a fake fiat inflationary system where currency is printed through the swapping of bonds and the Federal Reserve and fractional reserve lending and all this garbage. That is not how currency is created. The government has hoodwinked us. Central banks have hoodwinked us to think that that's where the benevolent overlords create currency, and we're just lucky to have some. That is completely bogus. That's why we have a fiat inflationary system. We need a deflationary, finite monetary system that actually holds value. Because money, the number one characteristic of money, people talk about medium exchange, unit of account, portable, divisible, fungible, all these things. Store of value is the number one thing. Say it again with me. Store of value is the number one thing. Let's say it one more time. Store of value is the number one thing. If you have something, if I'm just printing up dollar bills and monopoly currency in the backyard here, and I'm just giving it to you saying, you need to live off this, and I can just get to print more myself and then use it and get the benefit of it, and you just have to be stuck with the inflated dollars that are just keep being shoved your way, or trying to find goods and services you have to pay now with a currency that keeps getting devalued and is worth less and less. How fair is that? That is not in effect what the government is doing. That is literally what the government is doing. The government is stealing the fractional reserve lending, the fiat currency system we have, the fractional reserve through the banks, the commercial banks, the Federal Reserve, the government. They are all in this game together. They get to benefit while you and I get screwed at the end of the day, wondering where we're going to get rent, wondering where we're going to get our retirement from, wondering how you're going to take care of your mother and father when they're trying to live with you. And a lot of them get put in a home, which I just was thinking about this weekend, how sad that is, that people just shove their parents into a home or something like that. And the fact that we can't have a money that we can save that produces more value and more purchasing power over time and holds its wealth, so that way we can bring family into our home. We can create an extra wing for them, an extra in-law suite, so that they can be taken care of there. This is the world we live in. This is why, and we got some articles coming out we've done lately. We've got more coming out on the blog. We'll probably do videos of them. Well, the link to the blog and the Substack of this world where it continually runs away from you in this fiat inflationary world. And you have to rein that in somehow in order to get ahead of that. That's what Bitcoin does. And the biggest thing is because government has made you think two things. One, the rights you have come from them. I saw David Hogue out there, these gun control advocates that are, you have no right to have a gun. Excuse me, I have every right to have anything I want in the world. Anything. The fact that someone even say that just shows the level of ineptitude and the lack of intelligence we have in the world, and where rights come from. Rights come from God. They don't come from government. They don't come from Trump. They don't come from Biden, Bush, Reagan. They don't come from anyone except God. You can do whatever you damn well please. That is inherent, and it's in the founding documents. That was the revolution. The founders said, wow, this is inherent. It's God-given. They don't just swing on a whim. The next guy or gal that comes into power just gets to make the rule. That's not how life works. You were born into this world with every right, every freedom, life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. Period. End of story. There's nothing else anyone can say. Governments are there to uphold those rights. They work at the consent of the governed to facilitate rules and law, things like that. That's it. That is it. The fact that someone is like, you don't have the right to do that, you don't have the right to do this, shows how unintelligent you are, and the basic just lack of understanding of what's going on, and it's purposely done. We talked about the General Education Board here at Rockefeller. We want workers, not thinkers. This has been perpetuated on for decades. Our grandparents and great-grandparents and great-great-grandparents have all been through the system. So of course no one's going to know what's going on. Of course 1 in a million aren't going to understand the monetary system, aren't going to understand their rights and what's inherent to them, and that government's there to work for them. You're not supposed to be scared of your government. The government should be scared of you. These are things that are so evident if you just sit back and think about them and study up for a little bit. But the fact that so few people do is why we're in the trouble we are in. This is why we have so many people ticked off at their neighbor, because of the polarization and hate in media being able to divide people when they don't understand that we're all in this together. 99% are in this together. It's a few people at the top in the basement, basically typing away on the currency, the printing press, and typing on the keyboard, typing digits into existence, stealing it, stealing wealth, stealing your time and energy from you, and getting to disseminate it wherever they want. Ukraine, Afghanistan, Obamacare, Solyndra, Operation Fast and Furious, weapons of mass destruction, the Patriot Act, and on and on and on and on and on and on. This is going to continue happening. You're going to continue losing in life. You will absolutely continue life. This has been my life's work for 20 plus years. You will absolutely continue living life if you save an asset that's constantly being counterfeited away from you, that you think is an asset. It's actually a liability. I'm sorry. You save a liability, the dollar or any fiat currency. You keep saving liabilities you think are assets, and you think your rights come from government. You will have a massively hard time in your life going forward. I can guarantee you that. I've seen it in my own life, and I've seen it in other people's lives. When I try to live as sovereign as I possibly can, and be independent and resilient from the system. And I'm going to get into this in a quick second. We're going to fly through this because there's not much going on, to be quite honest. I mean, there's a lot going on. The system is collapsing. However, there's not a ton of crazy changes going on right now. But this is the game. This is the game being played. And I have conversations and debates with people that are very freedom-oriented and think very similar to me, and they haven't even made this realization. They're still fighting in the fiat system. They're still doing their fiat mining job and trying to collect more fiat, thinking it's going to make a difference. It's not going to make a difference. It makes no difference. Your children, your great-grandchildren, you're never going to see that. Your fiat. Their fiat's worthless. It's pieces of paper. They've stolen the wealth from you. Again, they're going to send another 100 billion to Ukraine, and they're going to send another 100 billion. There's going to be false flag events. This is going to happen. This is just as old as history, and they do this because they've broken the currency. They've broken the money. They took the money out of the currency, and now they can do whatever they want. And no one knows the difference because they don't know history. They don't know how we were founded. They don't know what money is truly. They don't know it's a store of value. So they keep saving liabilities they think are assets, and then they have no idea because they have no ability to understand what's going on. Then they just vote for more moronic government officials and politicians, bureaucrats to then come in and give them free things. Give me free healthcare. Give me student loan debt. Get rid of my debt. Eventually it'll be houses. I guarantee we've said this before a while back in some of our articles and our videos. This will be when people start getting kicked out of their homes in mass scale like we saw 14 years ago. I guarantee people are going to be on the road with Facebook Live or Instagram Live or TikTok. Like, isn't this awful? The government kicking people out of their houses. And guarantee it, this is one of the ways CBDCs, BlackRock will come in, all this stuff will come into play. Like, hey, you know what? We will buy you your home for 10, 20, 30% more, actually. You can pocket the difference, put it in your CBDC slave Fed coin account, your slavery coin, and you can pocket the difference. We'll buy your house. You rent it back from us. You rent it back from big old BlackRock. You rent it back from Klaus Schwab and Larry Fink. And then you can be on the CBDC. It's all you got to do. All you got to do is come to the CBDC. We'll own everything. You'll be happy. You'll own nothing. And you're going to rent everything from us. They don't say it quite like that, but that's exactly what's happening. Believe me, I started reading another book this weekend that fit my bias. It fit another puzzle piece, as Robert Kiyosaki says, another puzzle piece in this massive puzzle piece of life of understanding the truth of what is actually going on in the world and the lies that we are constantly being told. I've told you guys to watch the Sea Beast movie on Netflix, the children's movie that talks about government lies and screwing the people over and perpetuating war. Unbelievable movie. But the Committee of 300, the Conspirators Hierarchy, the Committee of 300, that book is a game changer. You want your mind ripped open and shoved back in and jammed back into your head? Go get that book right now. That is everything you need to know. It confirms, from a British MI6 agent, former intelligence officer, written 30 years ago, mind you, and it was studying for 20 or 30 years before that, exactly what's going on and all the things I've been learning over the last 20 plus years, and confirms all these things from the inside. And we're also going to have some stuff. I'm going to have an interview I'm going to be doing with a gal who was inside these as well. A younger gal, but she's been on the inside of this as well. A lot of these global organizations. So we're going to actually do some interviews. When you start seeing the lens and you have the right lenses on, you can see very clearly as to what's going on and the moves you need to make. This is why I say question everything. Get prepared, get independent, get resilient. Know that you don't have to ask anyone for anything. You don't have to ask a single soul of what you want to do. Period. What you want to say, what you want to do, how you want to think, how you want to act, rights come from God. They don't come from government. They don't come from your neighbor next door. Have the true authority over yourself, accountability and responsibility. That's it. That's all humans ask of each other. Be nice to each other, do unto others as you would yourself, but you don't need permission. You don't need to ask or feel bad or this and that. That's not how life works. This is not life. Governments, media, academia have all told us that that's how it's supposed to work over the last 100 plus years, and we've all been scammed and conned into it. right? Con is a confidence game. It's this confidence game of the dollar that we're in, the fiat currencies of, oh, it's worth something. You got to pay your taxes in it. So here it is. If 1%, 5%, 10% of people woke up tomorrow, the dollar would collapse immediately. It would go to zero. I mean, it already has gone to almost to zero, basically. It's lost 99% of its purchasing power since the Federal Reserve in 1913. But whatever it has left in it, it would just go to zero. And people try to fight me all the time. I just said something the other day. It can't go to zero. It can't lose 99% of its purchasing power over the next decade or two. How can it not? I mean, the projections that even the CBO and the government have themselves of just the massive exponential currency printing that they've shown. Lynn Alden has shown these. And I was like, did they really just share this? I think we've done a video on it. I mean, this is clown world we're living in. And yet people still argue with me. People that believe, like me even. There's a lot of people, and they're like, oh, that can't happen, Brandon. That can't happen. These people are constantly wrong. The treasury, I mean, it's transitory, right? Your healthcare is going to be cheaper. Weapons of mass destruction. I mean, every single thing the government tells you is a lie. There's not incentivized to tell you the truth because they want power over you. So why would I tell you the truth? You go through your school your entire life and people still, like, why don't we learn how to balance a checkbook? Why don't we learn about money? Because they don't want you to learn. That would mean that you're then independent and you don't need them. That's not how government works. This is like the most frustrating thing I've ever experienced in my life because people just continually, oh, we have it so good. I'm going to kick my feet up and I'm going to watch The Bachelor. I'm going to kick my feet up and watch the football game. I'm going to watch a hockey game. I'm going to watch my show. I'm going to watch this documentary. Just not even knowing. And then they have the audacity. This is the thing. If no one cared about anything, it didn't cry and whine about stuff, then I wouldn't care. You know what? You do you. Right? And I don't care what people do in general, but the fact that people are going to worry about money, they're making decisions all based off money, everything. Most of marriages end in divorce because of money being the biggest topic, and on and on and on. Money is literally the most important aspect, I guess. I mean, we can say to a degree, right, in every person's life, because everything they're doing is based off money. Driving around to go see your family, got to pay for gas. Your marital decisions being made because of money. Schools that your kids can go to because of money, and on and on and on. Personal protection that you have because of money. Healthcare you get because of money. And yet no one chooses to study money. No one chooses to study mindset, success, study themselves, and study money. Your time and energy. Money is just time and energy. It's a container, as we've always said, a container for your money or for your time and energy. You need to choose the money you're saving very carefully. What kind of money are you saving? Money has to be a store of value. So if you're saving dollars, you're saving a currency. You're saving a liability you think is an asset. So the only monies that I know of are Bitcoin, and then you can say that gold and silver are too, because they've been for thousands of years. They have an inflation rate to them, and they'll always have it. So you got to be careful. But those are the only three. That's the only, other than that, if you've been saving those for years and decades, you are winning massively on a massive scale. If you're saving liabilities you think are assets, any fiat currency, you've been losing on a massive scale, as we've shown over and over and over again. I'm going to get off my soapbox. I appreciate you coming to my TED Talk. Let's go through these really quick. I just don't even know what else to say at this point. 3.92 on the 10-year. Somewhat stable over the last couple of days, we'll say, but big things are coming. We all know that. If we've been paying attention at all, stocks are bumped up a little bit. People are like, hey, the weekend, had fun this weekend, so let's buy some stocks. I mean, this is the clown world we live in. 105, almost 105 in DXY again. The dollar milkshake theory. If you want to go check out, really some of my thesis of what I think is going to happen, I believe Brent Johnson has probably one of the best theories on it, called the dollar milkshake theory. You can go Google that or YouTube that very easily, very quickly. It'll come up. You can see him talking about this a ton for the last few years. Mike Maloney has also talked about this for years. And the dollar really sucking up the monetary premium of a lot of these assets. And potentially gold, silver, Bitcoin also going up in the same world, which you don't think would generally happen, but probably will. And commodities, same thing. Crude oil, 75, 76, hasn't moved too much. Gold and silver both down just a tad actually over the last couple of days. And Bitcoin, I believe, is hovering still around 24, 23 and a half. So not a crazy movements over the last few days. I think the big stuff with Gary Gensler coming out and saying basically all the altcoins, crypto, garbage, affinity coins are all scams. They're all companies. I can go find if I sue any one of them, I'll have a legal team after me and yada, yada, yada. There's, I can find their websites where Bitcoin is an asset without an issuer. IRS has already said this, 2014. We already know it's money. It's an asset without an issuer. It's a digital commodity. And this is why the globalists are fighting it. They want a one world currency. Well, guess what? They got a one world currency, but it's not one they control. And that's why they're so scared. So let's, remember, debt. This is why I just went on this rant, right? The debt. This is the debt. This is the game. Dollar is debt. It's a currency. It's not, Mike Maloney says money makes, currency takes. This is the game we're playing right now. If you keep holding liabilities, currency, any fiat currency you think is an asset, this is your life going forward. Life will continue running away from you. I can guarantee that. Let's see the dollar versus Bitcoin. Oh yeah, that's right. It's been crushed. Your life on dollars. Oh yeah, your life has been crushed. Here we are with your life on Bitcoin. You're not only buying eggs, you're buying whole farms. So we're gonna keep beating this into the ground. And is Bitcoin working at the end of the day? Is Bitcoin working? Let's see here. Yes. Beautiful. It's working. It's whack-a-mole. You can't take it out. Unless an asteroid hits us and blows up the entire Earth and just incinerates it, and all the satellites and everything else, it just gets vaporized. That's the only way, in theory, that every single person on Earth destroyed, every node, every satellite, everything is destroyed. That's the only way that Bitcoin doesn't exist. So do the math. I appreciate you for being here, for listening to my TED Talk. Again, not many people will. Algorithm doesn't like truth and freedom and responsibility and accountability, right? The algorithm, politicians, they love dependency. They love to promote dependency. And that they're going to continue doing that until we move to Nostr and Zion and platforms that are decentralized, built on Bitcoin. That's going to continue happening. So I appreciate you. I appreciate your time and energy being here. I seriously do. And it's an honor. Please share this out. Please help us beat the algorithm. And the faster this happens, the more wealth and prosperity, the more freedom and liberty we all have. That's it. That's it. At the end of the day, this is what this is all about for our children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren. So I appreciate you. This is not financial advice. It's freedom advice. Make the fair trade. Finite time for finite money. And I look forward to seeing you on the next one.